Oh, this panel bothers me to no end. Like, why are his fingers... Why? Hey, Starly here. Are you thinking about redrawing early pages of your comic? Because I'm thinking about redrawing some of mine. Actually, I've already started a bit. In this video, I'm going to go over some particularly bad panels, why I'm redrawing them, and maybe give some direction for other comic artists who are also thinking about redrawing some of their early art. So to start with, I'm actually not planning on redoing the entire chapter from scratch. That would be crazy and drive me insane. So what I did before was I actually just found some panels that I really didn't like and wanted to redo, and I just touched them up. It was more like doing touch-ups on the first chapter. And then I also added in some new pages to the first chapter, and that really helped with fleshing out the story a bit more and making the opening a little bit more interesting. So I first made the comic, as you can see, back in like 2017. So it's been, like 5 years. And I think I did the last update in 2020, or maybe it was 2019. And my art I've been studying art a lot recently, a lot more than ever before in my life. So my art has changed quite a bit from the beginning. And so that is why I want to redo it now, because my art just doesn't look like this anymore, and so I think it will hopefully entice people to read it a little bit more. So let's take a look, like this first panel, for example. I think that this just looks a little bit messy, a little bit hard to read. So this is a panel that there's also some, you probably can't see it here, but this is some of the, I don't know if this is how you pronounce it, moire effect, where you get like this pattern in the comic tone, so that doesn't look good to me. I'm not going to worry too much about things that are this subtle, more like the overall picture. So if we scroll down, so we have a reporter here, and one thing I noticed is that she is out of perspective with the rest of the building, and her proportions are a little bit off. And I remember this is one panel I redid from earlier, and this does look a lot better than the first one. But again, it's still just not up to snuff, so that's why I want to redo this. The clouds in the background, they look a little boring. The buildings are all out of perspective and really fucked up too, but you know what? I'm not going to go too crazy with redoing them. I'm just going to give them a little bit of sprucing up, hopefully. These people down here are also awful. And then you can see like the proportions of the people, they're just not how I draw people anymore. I draw much better proportions now, much better line art. The face here is like really funky. The shoulders are too small. And also another thing that is different from my comic nowadays is that I always convert the comic tones into grayscale. And I do this because it looks much better. The comic tones, the effect on the computer screen, I think, just doesn't look as nice as in a book when it's printed. So that's why I convert it to grayscale. Also helps prevent the moire effect. Yeah, so scrolling down here, you can see the close-up of her eyes, like her pupils are off to the side. I don't know why. That was just a bad mistake on my part. So I will be redoing stuff like this so that her eyes are more consistent with like what I do now, and hopefully it will look a little bit better. And I think her hair looks nice though, but maybe I will add in some more details to her hair, because there could be more details in here, I think. Her neck, like I don't do the shadows like this anymore, so that's why the shadow, I'm going to change that too. Again, proportions are just whack. This background, I think that this could be a really striking scene. It's okay now, but I think it can be pushed a little bit further with like better buildings and stuff. So I'm going to see if I can add more details into here. I've got some brushes that I downloaded before that will really help me make buildings, the windows on buildings, and hopefully some other details. explosion stuff is fun. Again, fixing up proportions. So, and this is just all in the first like few pages. And these were like the more recent pages. Let me scroll down some more to like the older pages here. So these pages, these were even done with, maybe you can't even tell, but this was done with like a different line art brush. So this is like a regular brush I use that honestly is not the best for a black and white comic. It has no texture to it whatsoever. This is good for a color comic, but for a black and white comic, I used a texture brush now, so that looks a lot better. Again, proportions are just off. This chair looks a little sad, so those are things I might fix. Her desk, Shion's desk here, is also like really off, but I'm not going to try and worry about background stuff too much. I just really want to redo things like her face here is obviously just kind of, it's not very nice. At least it's not up to my standard. Maybe some people look at this and like, what are you talking about? That looks fantastic. But I can see all the imperfections, and I think if I redo this, hopefully people will see it and be like, wow, that looks really nice. More nice. Her scarf also, I don't draw it like this anymore. Again, these wrinkles, they don't make any sense. That's why I need to redo these. Like her boobs are looking, her rib cage is not connected, so that is an issue. Let's see, her waist here is just way too high up. Her head is too big. That is a problem I have with a lot of my drawings, is I always draw the head way too big. I always have to resize it smaller. Even nowadays, when I've learned more about proportions, I still have to make it smaller every single time. Again, the head is way off. Oh, this panel bothers me to no end. Like, why are his fingers, why are they such significantly different sizes? The ring finger and the pinky, it's not right at all. And don't worry, Orion, I will fix you. I will fix you. So Shion's hand is having like the same issue as Orion's hand back then. Like these two fingers look pretty good, but the ring finger and the pinky, I don't know why they became much smaller. The thumb also appears to be off here, so maybe I'll fix that. Her head is too big, her eyes are off, like there's so... This is why I don't want to redo my whole first chapter. Like, it's basically set in stone. The story is what it is, it's not going to change. But I think, hopefully, if I can just spruce up the art, that will, you know, really interest readers a little bit more, and they'll enjoy it a little bit more, and get a little bit more subscribers to the story, and readers, consistent readers. And you know what? I always think this panel looks a little bit nice. I don't know why. That one looks okay. Oh, he's missing a button. I always forget buttons. There's so many missing buttons. Just, you probably have like a drinking game with missing buttons on their clothes. So that is all of it. I just wanted to talk a bit about why I'm redoing my comic a bit here. It's just, you know, it's difficult when a comic is going on for so long and your art just changes so much. And I am at a point where I am pretty happy with my art. Like, I feel it's definitely come a long ways. It's looking pretty good. I do want to keep pushing it further though, but I do hope when I do this round of revisions that this will be the last round and I can just move on from it and it will be professional enough to get by with as a first chapter from 5 years ago. So I hope you all enjoyed that video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it and are looking forward to more content. And thank you for watching them, and maybe give some direction for other karmic. Oh dear.